Pacha Pyro, YN7. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big board. Pep for my peeps. It's Friday night. Just got paid. If it, right? Or maybe we didn't because it was a red day. It was a red day. It was a red day for a lot of us. So, you see the title. I mean, you know when it's live. It's. I normally alter the title by the time it gets published but the live is just so you know what it's about. So, it's a red day, and I'm gonna get to one stock for you. I just really want to talk about one stock in particular, because it saved the day, and I'm gonna use this time today to talk to the people just getting into stocks, because that's part of what this channel is supposed to be about. That's part of what the whole channel is about. It's all about energy. It's all about frequencies. It's all about how to deal with all that, right? So here we go. Now, what most people don't realize is this, right? Because here's the story. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going. It's been a long week for you too, right? I understand. So we just gonna kick back. We're gonna have a little conversation. We're gonna build, and we're gonna get to that one stock, and then I'm gonna get you up out of here. We're gonna have this little what is this? Banana mango fit factor. You know what I'm saying? Blender edition. Hold on. You know what I mean? Get you something, and let's just poly for a moment. Shake this week off. Gear up for next week. Now, here's my thing. Right? I'm gonna show you what my day looked like. This is what my day looked like today. That's what my day looked like today. You see what I'm saying? So, and don't mind like the red and the blue. I just write in different inks. It's not, that has nothing to do with it being a red day. So I started this. Okay, so here's my backstory, right? My backstory is, I won a couple stock market competitions back in the day in school, and I didn't ever think about it. But in reality, what that was paper trade practice. You see what I'm saying? I never knew the terminology until recently. I never thought about it like that. I just know we did the stock market competition a couple times and we won. And I like winning things, you know what I'm saying? So, but here's what I'm getting to. And then in my early 20s, right? Introduction to corporate America. Okay, this is the life that they birthed you, and they said this is what you're supposed to go do in life, and I just stopped listening after that, right? So I got there, and you build up a little bit of you're using the stock market then with your 401k in the early 2000s, and you get to the point where you leave you leave that job because you're like, man, fuck this shit. And they said, yeah, fuck that shit, you done. And you was like, well, and you know how that goes. So you took that time, right? And you said, you know what, man, something ain't right. I gotta get my life together, my mind together. Something just ain't right. You bounce around a little bit, but then you take 2 years off, and you live off of your the money you had, right? So you find some ways to make some extra cash, and you realize you got by, and you see how happy you were without having a job, a career, or whatever. I don't know who you are exactly or what you do, but I mean, when you do 10 years in customer service in credit card world, and you're at every major party 3 to 5 nights a week, dealing with thousands of people a week, sometimes a day, for 10 years, you just get to the point where you just tired of people. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention all your other little endeavors that you got to pull up. You know, you're doing parties from DC to New York, right? 3 to 5 nights a week when it was at its peak, and you got other little side ventures you got to pull up and deal with people. You know what I'm saying? So you just get to the point where you're like, man, I'm just tired of dealing with people, because I don't know. I'm not social butterfly. You know what I'm saying? I'm really more in tune with just the truth, the facts, and I guess that's why I get along with numbers, right? So here's what I'm getting at. When I talk to people about stocks, because I did that first, I call it my first stunt in my early 20s. And then I went through a period of time where I was just learning knowledge itself and growing and developing myself and stuff like that, and learning all these sciences and crap, you know, and just building, right? And I was so disappointed with the world that I knew that I left it all behind. And I went to a brand new place with $40 and 2 bags of clothes, and I built everything from scratch. Because I'm a perfectionist, and when you're a perfectionist, once you achieve perfection, you can only start something new or destroy the old and recreate. You know, it's a vicious addiction. And the benefit of doing that is I could build it the right way this time, based off of all the flaws I learned from all my experiences and seeing everything else around me prior. So these red days, okay? These red days test you. These red days make sure you doing this for the right reason. Okay? Some people are just, you know, I'm going to throw this in the pot and hope something happens. You know, that's that throw shit against the wall, hope, see what sticks. You know, you might as well play the lotto. I'm just saying. You know? I need you to understand the red days are going to define you. And what I'm getting at is, so what a lot of people don't realize is I conquered, I saw, you know, this stuff that I'm trying to build, I'm conquering my goals. And I really wasn't worried about the market. You know, I had some stuff going into some places, and I was just letting it do its thing. Well, you know, what I realize is this. The universe, the Most High, whatever, talks to you. You know what I mean? If you got some antenna that's tuned into the frequencies, you might receive the message. You know what I mean? So I got to the point where I realized the current climate, as much as we may or may not like the direction that it's going, is the perfect opportunity to build your own investment capital from your investments in the market. And then people be talking to me about the market, and I would start to get more curious about what they're doing and talk to them about what I think, and they would ask me, and I would keep saying to myself, you know, I need to get back into this. I need to go ahead. I got this sitting over there. I need to, instead of just letting it sit there and grow in some mutual funds or something, I need to go ahead and start, you know what I'm saying? So what people don't realize is and take this as encouragement, not bragging. What a lot of people don't realize is I've actually only been doing this time around for the last 6 weeks. Let me see. Yep, it was like October 20 something. And I said, that's it. Today's the day, because you know what? I'm going to do this. I got a plan. I'm going to execute. And that's what you need to have, is a plan. So when I had all these people, even before I jumped back in, ask me and having conversations about and their thoughts, and I see people, like if I go out and talk to somebody right now on the street and I ask them about stocks, and they're like, I've been meaning to get into that. I just don't know how. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of people say that. You know what I should do? Because I got all this knowledge invested in me, I should share it with the people. So I put opportunities together for people to come and get the knowledge, because that's what I do. I'm Pasha Paro. So I meet people. I got questions. I need answers. I'm here because I know tomorrow's not promised. That's part of why I appreciate the upbringing, or the lack thereof, that I had, because it made me depend on only me. And every time I try really hard to like depend on others, I wind up by myself, because I haven't met ready to go like me. Now, and I'm not saying that people aren't doing nothing. I'm saying when I talk to them and I say, hey, what's your goal? What's your dream? And they say this. And I'll be like, okay, well, let's spend 15, 20 minutes, because I'm really good at project management. Let me help you try to get there. Matter of fact, I'm closing out my first major project, $1 million project. It's nothing. We deal with money our whole lives. Team of like 25 people that I'm working with. I'm the project manager. So when the destination is agreed upon, I know the feeling of being able to overcome all obstacles, because I do this and I've been doing it my whole life, because I had to. So I put this group together, and I was like, yo, everybody, come to the group. I'm even inviting you. Come to the group. But know, if you come to the group and you're not participating in the group, and it didn't dawn on me until I was scrolling somewhere else through Facebook, but know, if you come to the group and you're not participating, like, you're not going to be in the group. And it didn't dawn on me. I didn't know how to articulate it, surprisingly, to myself, until I saw it executed somewhere else in the fashion of being translated as they had an engagement policy. And I was like, fucking yeah. I got a fucking engagement policy. And you know why? It's not because of anything other than bettering yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. I wanted to give a platform for people to be able to come and learn what this person thinks and how this person does it, and then they could cross-diagnose and examine stuff together. That's what this was supposed to be all about. So you give a person, relax. We're gonna get to that stock in a minute. Hold on. Because this stock was crazy. It was over 100% on a day at one point. I'm trying to tell you, stick around. So you're like, look, here's the opportunity. And what I noticed, whether it's my group, because I've erased it, or not the group, but the contents, the people, right? A couple times in waves. Actually, I do a weekly review, and if it's not up to, and here's why. Here's why it's like that. Let me tell you why it's like that. It's like that because if you're looking to get better, you gotta show up. You gotta put that work in. You know what I'm saying? Like when you ready to work out, when you ready to work out, and you go to the gym, you gotta show up. You can't go to the gym and just sit there and say, well, I went to the gym, and wait to see the results. You gotta put the work in. So that's what I'm saying. I get out somewhere new, I'm asking questions. I mean, I need to know what you know. I need to know your perspective, because if I learn your perspective now, I've learned from you. And if I learn from a million people, you know, what was that value a semester? You see what I'm saying? I don't need you to have no PhD, no letters behind your name. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got to get control of your emotions. And I don't care what you starting. Here's what you need to do first. This should be like 6th grade literature looking back in life. Get this book right here. Power versus Force. Okay? Because they calibrated human emotion. You know what I'm saying? And if you want, I'll save you some time. You go on my YNet 7 channel, scroll down a little bit to the next section, the section below the tarot section. And I did a series called the Life Vibe series, where we address each emotion as calibrated by Dr. Hawkins, PhD, MD, if you want some letters behind the name. And then I spun it with the etymology breakdown of the word, and we pulled a tarot card on it. Yo, it's amazing. Check it out, right? Because if you don't get control of your emotions, that's why there's a disconnect with me and a lot of people, because I'm numb. I'm emotionally unavailable. You know what I'm saying? I am my only customer. Like so like this, right? Here's what you need to understand. And this is from my group, but right now it's just me. Oh, let's have a little bit of funny thing. I had to take this and put it on there because I normally really just be like, but this one was just so perfect. So I try to give it to some people to brighten their day up. So it says, you said $68 a share, and Airbnb says plus cleaning fee, plus service fee, plus occupancy fee. I thought that was pretty good. So let's get back to it. Now, what we're talking about is the ability to adapt. You know what I'm saying? The market is going to pull that out of you, or you're going to go into it with somewhat developed skills. All right. So business agility is the ability of an organization to, I know that you're the organization, your group's the organization, the people in your life could be considered the organization. You substitute the variable you want. Let's get to the equation. Business agility is the ability of an organization to adapt quickly to market changes, internally and externally, respond rapidly and flexibly to customer demands, and lead change in a productive and cost-effective way without compromising quality. You know, when I when I separate from people, they be like, man, they might say I'm a crybaby, and he's crybaby. He was complaining about this and said that. They see it as complaints. I never complain. I don't fault you for being you. I just tell you what I require. And if I can't be satisfied, then it's no bad feelings. You go your path and do you. I'm going my path and do me. But sometimes I just wish we were going in the same direction. See, a lot of people, because where we at, when you get into control of your emotions, you'll see how they've been weaponized against you, against so many different people, places, and things. You don't even realize you're not living your own life. You live in a version of what 55,000 people say you should be. And see, the difference is I'm my only customer now because I'm a Virgo. That says it all. But I'm a Virgo. So over time, like I said, I've worked to the point where I've got a couple more steps until I'm my only customer, period. But to know how to get there, you got to first assign that as your destination. And it's hard for me to wait on tradition because tradition is all about what was being repeated. You see? So when you got people locked in tradition, you got to get them to break out of that. You better leave some breadcrumbs, Hansel and Gretel. You know what I'm saying? Or else you're going to be there in the tradition with them. You see what I'm saying? So you can't help people. They got to help themselves. And that's how you got here. Because you're looking to help yourself. Now, here's what I did. I know I'm in transition. Cheers. I know what I'm working towards. So you know what I've been doing? I've been strategically scheduling days not to, you want to call it vacation, but not to appear at the volunteer slavery at the job. You know what I'm saying? And I've been simulating what life would be like trading full time. So this week I took yesterday and today off. And I had a plan to execute. And I executed that plan. And you got to give yourself tests, trials. Right? So earlier in the week, I wanted to make a certain set of moves. And I knew this stock over here was going to go like $6 that day. And what I did, and this is what made me get to this point. I mean, I've been taking a couple of days off before this, but what I did today, I'm going to tell you because maybe this will help you with what you're working on, or maybe you never thought about this, and maybe you can start trying something like this, or maybe you'll hear this and say, oh, I should do this other thing, but that motivated me to try this. It's always the perfect day. So at that moment, I had been teaching. I ain't gonna say teaching because I'm not a professional. This is for your entertainment purposes only. You know what I'm saying? It's purely entertainment. So I have been talking to people, you know, when you talk to people about why they stay in through the ups and downs, like for long periods of times, and they're like, yeah, it's going to be $400. Neil's going to be $400 a share. You're crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I just don't want to go down with it when I can just keep catching all the ups. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should say you're crazy, but then we'd be an endless debate. And that's a waste of energy because Virgos are practicing efficiency. And if we go back to this, that's not the most cost-effective way without compromising quality. Because, see, cost-effective don't always mean money. Your energy is a cost. Your time is a cost. Your peace, if you sacrifice it, is something that you can consider a cost. So when you look at this statement again now, maybe you can fill in different variables as a metaphor, but adapt quickly. The market changes internally and externally. Respond rapidly and flexibly to customer demands. Now, what if you're like me, you're only customer, so you gotta respond rapidly and flexibly to your demands. I mean, because at the end of the day, if you're your only customer, then you gotta satisfy you. Anything else is driving up costs, or you're compromising the quality of your experience and achieving your goal. So you gotta lead, you gotta adapt and lead change in a productive and cost-effective way. All right. So I knew it was going to go up $6. I had just spent a couple days with a few different people talking to them about fear of missing out. Right? So I said, you know what? This is going to be the most realistic trial, or really hardening myself for the fear against the fear of missing out. Yeah, like I said, I've only been doing this in this fashion since the end of October. I know I'm executing calculations and predictions, and I got 2 of them that came in within a penny of what I said they would in the last 6 weeks, and that's great, but who cares? I've been good at math my whole life. That's nothing new to me. I'm not excited about that. I need to consistently keep doing that. I kick myself when I'm off by 20, 30 cents. You see what I'm saying? Fuck you doing, B? It's 20, 30 cents. Under certain conditions, that could be $20,000, $30,000. You gotta prepare. You gotta train for where you're going. Now, if you don't want it, you're gonna be locked in tradition. You're gonna be staying in the same thing. Yeah, I'm gonna get in that, but this over here got me locked in, and okay, well, all right. You see how he hit the U-turn? It's nothing personal. I can't tell you why that's where you're supposed to be doing that in your life right now. I can't tell you that. All I need you to do is to not judge me for trying to be where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do. So I bust the U-turn. Because when I pull up in groups, the next group you go to, look, they're surrounded by tremendous talent. And how many people ask questions? One. And let's stick to stocks. I mean, you can go to any other variable you want. It's going to probably be the same. How many people ask questions on how to instead of just asking questions for the answers? Hey, what stock is going to pop tomorrow? What happened to, hey, how do you determine what stock predicts tomorrow or pops tomorrow? Because, see, the more I learn psychology, the more I realize how to control people, the more I learn law of attraction, the more it got boring. It got so boring always getting what you want. Because what I didn't like about it was the effort to maintain it. Because when you have to control people, when you have to manipulate people, I don't care if you're using the 48 laws of power, the art of seduction, the the art of war, the law. I don't care what you're using. You're putting in work. And what that means is that that result is synthetic. And the moment you stop putting in the work, results may vary. So I just get rid of the people that don't want to do naturally what I'm looking for. And that's the level of control I'm on now. Like, I'm such a control freak that I no longer control people. I control the people around me. Because when you got the right people around you, you don't have to control them. They naturally are in agreement with the destination and they overcome all obstacles. So, I purposely said to myself, going back to the test earlier in the week, I said, self, this is a perfect opportunity. You know that stock is going to be juicy. You know it's wet. You want that drip. But you know what? You got this plan over here that you agreed to before you even saw that. Can you make it through the day? Can you fight the temptation? And can you just simply execute the plan at hand? It almost killed me to watch that stock go to $7 a share and not get in on it because I was sticking to my plan. But you know what? It was a great exercise. Now, today, the market's been crazy. We know it's been down. It's been red. And I said, you know what? While the market is down in a pullback, this is what I'm going to do. I executed a little bit yesterday, just practicing some routines, some new trials, some new things, right? And then today's plan was to prepare, because, I held some things for a while, did really good. I've executed some daily pops, did really good. You know, you spend like, what I say, 6 weeks, you spend like 40 days in the green and you get a red day and you're like, okay. And then you get another red day a couple days later and you're like, okay. You know, I want you to not get discouraged. You see what I'm saying? When you go up 40, 50% and then you have a 1% loss, so what? Get back in the game, get back on your grind, get back focused on your plan and execute. So, like every hustler know, when the price is down, you load up. So today, my goal today was, and I knew going into it, it could be problematic because I had a goal to acquire assets. Particular assets. Actually, today was a very busy day. That's why you see the background. I executed 33 trades and acquired like 1,961 stocks. So it was a busy day. And what my plan is while it's down, grab everything. And as we transition into next week, which I haven't been a fan of carrying stuff. However, I did my homework and as we transition into next week, these assets should greatly overshadow any of today's possible red eye. So you're executing something like this and you got to stick to your plan. And then you're always looking for new stuff and you got to stick to the plan because This is the plan is for next week. It's not for today, right? So when you see, I don't care how much you got in the bank. When you see a stack go down, you like 900 in the red. You like, you know what? I need to, but don't do that. Just stick to your plan. If you what do you say? Poor performance prevents what? It's proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's the 5 P's. Okay? Go ahead and make the Bush memes for me. All right? So what it is though, is when you make that plan and you confident in it, you got to execute it. And that's why earlier in the week, the perfect exercise on the fear of missing out was just to not get the stock, even though you might have missed the $7 pop times however many shares you would have grabbed up there. Just focused on it, because if you cave to the emotion, you're going to do it again in the future because you haven't exercised the discipline. Okay? So give yourself those tests every now and then. All right? So let's get to the stock, because I was it was a red day. And the one thing that made it good was an execution that I've rehearsed, and this is what I've been telling y'all. So let's take a look at that. Now this stock was HJLI. All right. They're in the medical field. They do bioprosthetics, stuff like that, right? They were actually you got points where they were hovering 200 to 500 a share. Early on it was at like 3,500 a share, but they recently did a split, a 1-for-5 split, and now the stock is down to earlier this week or last week it was $8 a share. Okay, so they did a 5-for-1 or a 1-to-5 split. No, 1-to-25. It was ridiculous. It was 1-to-25. They did a 1-to-25 split. So for every one share, you had 25. So that drove the stock price to the floor. And it had some nice volume today. So you see the red zone, okay? You see it coming up. You see that first peak, all right? It created some resistance. It didn't bypass it. So just keep an eye on that for the future. It drops down. You see that little oval there? I'm looking for it to turn the corner, like turn 4 on NASCAR. And it did. You buy in as close to that switch of energy, that movement, that agility, right? Of energy. You get in, and then you just ride up to the top. If it had kept going, then you keep going with it, but it curves. You see, there's a little bit of you got a green candle, and then you got like a little flat pancake, and then you got another another try. Well, it's still, even though it broke the top, it's still at that resistance. So you kind of know you need to keep your eye on that at that time, if nothing else. Up until there, my little line, after it did its little stumble in the red and it got back up, even the reds were still above that line. So cool. It got to that other red candle and it drops down. Get out. That was from like 12 something, 13 something. If you got in at its earliest, even if you got in at $13, it's still a good ride. At its highest, it was like 17, almost $18. So bam, you capture somewhere between $1 and $6 a share. And if you got 100 shares, that's $600. You see what I'm saying? So you stuck to your plan and you were rewarded for it. You see what I mean? With just one movement. All right? So I want you guys to ask questions with the people around you. Not ask for the answer, because then you're going to be dependent upon them. Some people like that. They be executing for their laws of power. Oh, make sure everybody's dependent upon you. Look, man, I ain't got time for everybody to be dependent upon me. That's why I took 5 of your most popular leaders, give them some investment of information and knowledge, and hopefully they sprinkle that shit on you with the sunlight and the miracle grow, and it grows up in y'all group. That way I reached 25,000 people from talking to 5 people. You see what I mean? They be like, that's why I prefer the internet instead of being running around the whole east and west coast of the country right now. Why? Because business agility is the ability of an organization to adapt quickly. You can't get to California any quicker than your camera and the internet. You can't source and identify market changes if you ain't looking for it. So what's more important to me, if you're training for this to be your business, you gotta show up. You can't not go to work. This will be your job. So when people don't take it seriously, like, I'm gonna appear to be an asshole because I take it fucking seriously. And I don't have a problem with whatever it is you're trying to achieve in life, but I need enough investment capital to build a whole city if I want to. Depending on how many people's with me, I may need a city, or I might just wind up with a castle. One way or the other. So adapt quickly to market changes, internally and externally. So you got to go inside yourself. You got to train yourself. You see what I mean? And what's inside you? That's why I'm telling you, get this book or watch my Life Vibe series, Power vs. Force. Because you full of emotions. And if you don't control them, that's what's inside of you. That's your internal. Now, externally, it's gonna weaponize your internal against you, and you never gonna get there. So then you gotta respond rapidly and flexibly to customer demands. Now, I say I'm my only customer, but let's look at this. You can't reach more people quicker than this. It's going to be people able to watch this a year from now that's just getting started that I don't even know, in places I don't even know of, that fast. From something I did a year ago for them. That's responding rapidly and flexibly to customer demands. You got to adapt. See, we're not in the 90s when I was doing things where I had to move around and travel and be low and ride all the time. Y'all forgot about the make them come to you, I guess. Y'all know every other law. And I prepared this platform so that no matter where you are in the world, you can arrive. Because I adapted and I lead change in a productive and cost-effective way without compromising quality. So no, I never call people crybabies for having their own goals. Sometimes I just wish we were going in the same direction. I'm my only customer, and it's hard for me to wait on tradition. I'm Pasha Pyro. It's YNet7. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big Board